Welcome to the Good Coach, Bad Coach podcast. I'm your co-host, Coach Buck, sitting alongside again with Coach Joey. Coach Joe, what's happening, man? How are you?
Everything's good.
It's good to hear. So today's topic, we're going to talk about tackle football.
Oh yeah, we're full swing now.
We are full swing, but the topic is going to start with, when is it too young to sign your kid up for tackle football?
Yeah, that's a touchy subject.
It is a very touchy subject, and it was very touchy with me when I was deciding whether or not I should sign my kids up. I had a mini stroke meltdown.
Something tells me we're going to get some fan mail about this one.
There's no question about it.
Yeah,
there's no question about it.
I first and foremost, I actually think that our Louisville Little Rockets program is first class.
There's no question. Well run, good group of coaches, very instructional.
And the excitement that they do and provide for these kids on Saturday home games is like no other. I mean, we're talking about kindergartners, first graders, second graders, the music, the running through the tunnel, the whole 9 yards. It's a fantastic committee. I think they do a good job, and they provide excitement for the kids. Prior to getting to that, the practices, the equipment. The equipment's the big thing for these kids.
It's crazy.
95 degrees. We're in full swing right now.
Yeah.
We haven't even went full pads yet. I remember the first time my son put on his shoulder pads and his helmet. Never forget it.
No, man.
And number one, he couldn't move.
Yeah, no, it's like when you put slippers on a dog or something, and they don't know, they like forget how to run and walk. Like it's
so that was a big adjustment for him and a lot of the other kids. Once you get past that, things start to get a little bit easier. But the big topic I'm sure we want to touch on is the safety end of things.
Definitely, and that was you read all kinds of stuff about safety. And I was one of those parents that said, no way, tackle football until they're older. I was very insistent on it. I watched Brett Favre do a concussion video about he had 3 billion concussions, I think, in his career. He couldn't remember his kids. I don't know, his whole, I mean, it was a lot. And it was terrifying to watch that. And the first year for tackle football for me, we didn't do it. And I was very hell-bent on, they're not ready. This isn't a kid's sport. And I was on that side of it.
Yeah.
And then
well, I'm sure glad that your kid tried it out the second year. How'd that work out?
It worked out well, but I was not mentally, I was very turned off by it. I bought into the narrative that it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And, I have a medical background, and, I just didn't think I'm into childhood development and all that kind of stuff. But I'll give credit to my brother, Mike, who's been coaching for a very long time.
Sure.
And, we kind of had a heart to heart about it. And he told me about, fundamentals, and he's going to, kind of like his game plan. He's very organized in his approach to doing everything pretty much. But he pretty much said, let's try it out, think about it. And, long story short, he won me over. But that first practice was the eye opener for me, because I saw the hitting going on at practice, and I thought to myself, like, my kids fight each other harder at home.
Yeah.
Than they are here on the football field.
Yeah. Let me explain a scenario that happened Antonio's very first year in football. We were scrimmaging Columbiana at Firestone Park, and I was the first one there. Shocker, right?
Yeah. No.
So my son and I get out of the car.
If there's a game, Coach Joe is usually there. I don't know,
Yeah,
3 days before. No, but in all reality, probably hours before the game starts.
If you're not early, if you're not at least an hour early, you're late.
He beats everyone to the field for every game, no matter what's on the line.
So my son and I get out of the car at Firestone. It will be his very first scrimmage of his Bantams career, his football career. He did flag before, but first year of Bantams. And then I'm walking towards the sea of red. That's all I see. And I pick up my phone and I call your brother, who's the head Bantams coach at the time. And I said, Mike, if this is the team we're scrimmaging, every one of our kids are going to the hospital. I didn't really know if it was their junior high team or if it was their Bantam team. So I didn't want to make assumptions, but they were the only ones I could see in the distance. And we got a scrimmage that's going to be happening here in 45 minutes. So Mike pulls in and we walk over and he starts talking to the coach. And sure as hell, that's the team we're scrimmaging. Now, my son looked like he was just brought home from labor and delivery compared to these kids from Columbiana. So I didn't really know how it was going to go. We get into the thing and, my son didn't make a very big impact at all his first year. And the few times he got the ball, I think he rushed for like minus 20 yards. But the size of these kids compared to ours, it was unbelievable. It was the first time in competitive sports I really noticed the size difference between another team and our Lowville kids. Now we're experiencing that now in other sports. Sure, we're always the small ones. But from my son's first year to where he is now, it's mountain difference the size of them. But my very first experience, unlike yours, was the complete opposite. So your first practice, you saw your kids fight more in the basement.
No doubt.
The first time my son was getting ready to really get hit against kids his age, they looked like they were in junior high. So I didn't really know how this whole season was going to go.
That is terrifying.
It was terrifying for the kids. And, as tough as I try to be, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think my son's going to be able to survive that hit from number 84.
Yeah.
He was just so much bigger than him. But as you get into it, the league does a good job keeping kids safe. The equipment is it's outstanding for these kids.
Unbelievable.
These kids look like NFL players.
How about their pads? Their pads are like sewn into their pants.
Beautiful.
I mean, when I was in high school, it was like, here's the one of my thigh pads was bigger than the other thigh pad. I had a girdle that had pads in it that didn't fit. It was just
the equipment for these kids today is unbelievable.
Crazy.
So as we dove into this and the season went on, it sort of leveled itself out. Columbiana was always going to be the powerhouse team. We saw that right from the beginning. They ended up winning the Super Bowl. And thankfully, none of our kids got hurt. And we got through the season. It was a pretty successful season. My kid enjoyed it. As we got into this season and we moved forward, everything worked out well. And the kids had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Honestly, I think football is a great sport. I think it teaches you a lot of good life lessons. It's not an easy sport.
It's not. I think the equipment in the heat. A lot of people think you watch the NFL. There's rain. There's accumulation of snow. In our football league, it's in the summertime.
Yeah,
it's summer months. It ends when temperatures finally start dropping. July, August, September. The equipment that these kids have to wear in this heat is that's the biggest challenge of all.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. 90-degree heat. They got their pads on, and it's just. But I think too, though, and I know it's like a, like you mentioned, like the end of the season, like it gets cooler and this and that. But those hot games, those kids are so excited to take the field that they could get through most of it before they even start complaining about the heat. There's a level of excitement with tackle football that's unprecedented with other sports.
There is. As an adult, this last football season, I found myself with nerves and tossing and turning at night over youth football. It got to, it got to a point where I'm text messaging you and other coaches late at night about preparation for the next day for a Bantam football team.
Yeah.
We almost became obsessed.
It turns into that.
And then the kids are totally bought in. And then you win a couple games, and then you try to win a couple more. And then after you get to the point where you're dominating, the whole level just goes through the roof of how much fun you're having.
Yeah. And then there's that pressure of, I don't want to lose.
That's that. After you get to about 4 or 5 wins in a 9-game season, you're trying to hold on.
You smell it.
You
we're close. This is going really well. What could go wrong? You're just playing all these scenarios in your mind.
And you know how I feel about competitive sports. I like good competition. I don't necessarily think winning by 40 every game is the greatest route. It sure as hell beats getting beat by 40 every game.
Oh, there's no doubt.
But if you fast forward to the level of competition we played last season with Bantam football, we hit our match in that final game of the Super Bowl. There's no question about that. The team was ready for us. They were prepared. They knew from the first game what to expect, and they gave us everything they had.
And the thing that won the game was a mistake. It's the end of the game.
Yeah. It worked out.
Offsides call that worked out in our favor.
I actually think if Wellsville had 20 more seconds left on the clock, we lose the game.
It's very possible.
It just, the momentum was turning. They were driving. We were gassed. But it worked out in our favor. And nevertheless, 9-0 Super Bowl champs.
And it was fun. And you know what's cool about that? It's like, these kids still they like to flaunt their rings. It's like they get excited about the winning.
Yeah, I mean,
they probably remember the ring more than they do actually playing in the game.
Bantam football is 6, 7, 8-year-old kids. Think about that.
They're young.
6, 7, 8-year-old kids. There's a particular parent. I won't say his name. He didn't get to sign the waiver for him yet. But there's a particular parent who I really just met last season during Bantam football. And his child didn't really get a chance to play a lot. His child was young. And just like all the parents, you get to know them as the season goes on.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. Some love you, some hate you. But at the end of the Super Bowl game, this particular parent came over to me and said, I never experienced so much joy and excitement in my life that I see what my son just had this year playing football. Now, keep in mind, the kid didn't even get the chance to play a lot. It's his very first year ever putting pads on. But he was part of a winning program. And he was part of the parades. He was part of hoisting the trophy. He has a Super Bowl ring. The kid's 7 years old. And it's something he will never, ever forget. And that particular parent, who I became friends with now, I have the utmost respect because he cared more about the team, more about the experience than pinning how much playing time his kid did or didn't get that season.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for in a parent.
That's what
just bought into what's going on.
Those are called winners.
The one, I don't even know if it's a criticism, but you mentioned they get a parade. They get different rallies. They, these young, very young football players get all this stuff. They got the fire truck following them out of town. And when they hit junior high, are those things still going to be there? I mean, when I played sports, I don't remember any show. I mean, it's like a show on Saturdays.
Well, that comes with people that are involved, people that are involved in the community.
I guess my fear is I hope this isn't as good as it gets as far as that stuff goes for them. Well, because it's a production.
As long as you win, you always have a chance to get that production. Don't forget, we're going into 2026. It's a little different than 35 years ago in that
That's
picture
true.
right there.
That's true. But you know what, though? Those 35 years ago, I remember those stadiums being packed.
They were packed. But we didn't have the luxury of parades and parties and those kind of things because parents just didn't do that for us back then.
No,
We showed
it's
up,
different.
we played, we practiced, we did what we had to do, and that was it. But now, I say this all the time, Coach Buck. We teach a culture. We don't just teach X's and O's. We don't just teach what it's like to come out and hit a baseball or shoot a basket or run a football. We teach winning. We teach hard work. We teach good competition. And that's what it takes to be successful in youth sports.
I agree. And being a good teammate.
Absolutely. Being a good teammate and being coachable. And that all starts with help from the parents, which we talked about in the past. If you don't have the support from the parents, you got nothing.
No, because you need to be bought in on all levels. You need to be bought into the coaches. You need to be a good teammate. You can't be a selfish person. You know, it's got to be what's in the best interest for the team.
Now, you had two kids play Little Rockets football last year at two different levels.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say the experience was for one or the other, or were they? And I don't just mean winning and losing. I just mean overall. It was both of your kids' first year.
Yeah.
I told you the experience my son had the first year. It wasn't great. How would you say that your kids, the one in Bantam and the one in JV, how much they experienced and how much they loved or didn't like their first year?
Both kids loved football. I would say that the Bantam team was how do I want to say this? The hitting, I think the pace of the game changes significantly from Bantam football.
Yeah, we're seeing that now
to JV football.
I agree.
And my one son, his first year was with the JV. He never played Bantam football, so he was put right into the Lions' den there. And I thought he did a good job with it, but it's just the speed of the game was a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my other son was in Bantams, and he was a bigger kid, so I wasn't really too concerned about him taking any hits or anything because he's, it was just, I felt like they were both good experiences. I felt like they were different experiences, and I think even that next level between JV to varsity, right? So the 5th and 6th grade level, even that looks significantly different than what they're doing now.
How big of a difference is it?
It's crazy.
How big of a difference is it between a 1st and 2nd grader, a 2nd and 3rd grader, a 3rd and 4th grader? Just that 1 year difference. I see the development with my son from 1st to 2nd grade. It was just, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean talent. I'm talking strength, hand-eye coordination.
Everything.
Being able to comprehend things. That 1 year is so big in youth sports, it's not believable.
And I think the same goes between 3rd and 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell just by looking at a kid if they were a 3rd grader or a 4th grader, for the most part.
Yeah.
You got your handful of...
Unless you played for Columbiana. The kindergartners
they were all born 4th graders.
Yeah, it looked like they're 14.
All came out of the womb, ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could tell there's definitely like growth spurts. And then I think that'll continue up until, they're sophomore or junior in high school. You start to become close to a full-size adult, unless you're that Victor Wembanyama or whatever his name is. He keeps growing. I guess he's still growing. He's 7'10". I don't know how.
He's a point guard too.
We're going to need to build a new stadium for him to even just play in it.
How does he fly? How does he fit in a seat on an airplane?
I don't even know. I mean, it's unbelievable. He don't have to even jump to dunk.
No. Well, 245.
He's going to have to worry about his head hitting the rim here if he keeps growing. But it's just but no, I think football's a great game.
It's competitive.
It's very competitive.
How would you say football or basketball? What do you think is more competitive?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because how I feel about baseball.
I would say they're equally competitive. However, they're different sports, though. It's hard to compare it apples to apples. Because football,
good.
Basketball, you got 5 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Football, you got 11. And I think that you were talking about in a previous episode about, recruiting and, but you got 5 kids that you could only play on the floor one time. With football, you're mercy to the school district that you're in, and you got to pick 11, and it doesn't mean that it's not competitive, but it's just different.
I think in
It's hard to say.
I think in the youth football age group, if you have speed, strength, or one or the other,
You're gold.
you can be successful.
You're gold.
In basketball, you can be the fastest kid in the world. If you dribble off your foot or you shoot a layup over the basket, it ain't any good.
No.
So I'm not saying you don't need to be skilled to play football, because you do. I think the older you get, skill matters more. But if you're fast or you're strong, or if you're fast and strong in Bantams, JV, or varsity, Louisville Little Rockets,
You have a huge advantage.
you got a big advantage. But you can be the biggest kid or the fastest kid on the basketball court and lose every game for us.
Yeah. You can't. Speed is something that I feel like at a young age you can't teach.
No.
Maybe
Some kids have
maybe
it,
if
some
you're
don't.
enrolled in a program where you're working on your running and stuff, yeah, you could probably get a little bit better. But for the most part, you're born with speed, or you're not.
Yeah.
And then some kids develop later on. You got the whole mix of everything. But when that season starts, if you're one of the faster kids, you're going to have success. If you're one of the stronger kids, you're going to have. You can't train for that.
Yeah, the other thing that I found out coaching youth football is if you have 4 or 5 really good football players out of 11, you can win a lot of games.
Oh yeah.
You could hide kids in certain spots that may not be as talented as others, but if you have 4 or 5 that can really play the game the right way, they can win you a lot of games. In basketball, you can't hide anybody.
No, it's
You
a
got
smaller
5 kids
roster.
out there, and everybody has to. And don't forget, football, there's stoppage. There's whistles that are blown. There's incomplete passes. There's time to go back to the huddle and regroup. Basketball is nonstop, up and down. There is no stopping unless the ref blows the whistle or you call timeout or it's the end of the quarter. Every single play, a play can go back and forth for 3-4 minutes with no turnovers, no foul, nothing. So you have to have a certain type of talent to play basketball that I don't think that you need to play football or baseball. And I'm not saying that you don't need to be talented, because you do.
It's a more skilled.
It's more skilled, and strength and speed can take over a football game in a quick way.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But yeah, they're 2 different sports. And I think football at a young age is more about natural ability, whereas basketball and baseball, it's learned.
And you can have 11 kids out on the field. If you have 4 or 5 that could hold their own against the other team, you'll win a lot of games.
Oh, I agree with that. Especially at the Bantam level. But then as they get older, of course you train. But I mean, how many first graders are out there pushing the sled or doing this stuff to build? That doesn't.
No.
It's not happening.
No,
I
we're not
don't
even
know
teaching
if
that
it is.
right
Maybe
now.
it's happening in Columbiana, but
We're not teaching that right now, though.
you're learning fundamentals. The kids are having fun. And then, like you said, you get your kids, if you got 5 or 6 that are very either fast, strong, or whatever their specialty is, you could win a lot of games, and it's fun for a lot of different reasons.
And one of the other things that I really enjoy is not equal playing time.
No.
It's rec, but it's not equal playing time. There is no,
Well,
you
get
have to
hurt.
play 2 quarters. Yeah, you cannot force a kid to go into a game in football that's not ready to play.
No.
It's not fair to the kid. It's not fair to the parents. It's not fair to the team. How many times when I was the head coach of Bantams, if we had a big lead, we would try to bring a kid in and they would say, "Coach, I don't want to go in."
Yeah.
Well, then you had to let the parents know at the end of the game, "Look, I tried to get your kid in. He didn't want to go in."
Yeah,
you can't
that's-
force him, because then if something happens, then it's on you.
Right. No. Yeah. There was a lot of that on both levels last year.
But it's football's very competitive. I enjoy it. I think that the league that we play in is outstanding.
Oh, it's awesome.
And I think that the Louisville Little Rockets committee does a phenomenal job of exciting these kids on Saturday mornings.
I agree. I think the program's built for success, and they do. They do a really nice job. Kids love it. Attendance keeps growing every year. I feel like they're building the program the right way. All right, Coach Joe, I think it's time for, I got some fan mail. You want to take some fan mail?
Sure.
All right, let's do this. Let's see.
We love our fans.
Oh, they're awesome. All right, let's start with Mike. Mike is from Western Reserve, and he wants to know, what are your thoughts on two rival schools putting kids on the same team? What are your thoughts on two rival schools putting kids on the same team?
So I'm thinking.
I think he's referring to travel.
I love it. I think it's the only way to compete. It's everything I believe in.
I think it's awesome because I really think, like, there's good.
I'm sorry. AAU is a big popular thing now. It's totally different than travel, but AAU builds teams like this with rivals during the season. Season's over, they play together. I think it's phenomenal.
I agree. And I think, like, when you have rivals in school, at least my personal experience, you end up becoming friends with those kids, like, later on in life.
Yeah.
So why not start it later or earlier? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And have them, like, build a relationship and, hate each other when it's time for the schools to, go against each other. But, if you get a chance to know them and play together, you have more in common than you think you do with those.
Coach Beck, you know how rivals are created? When you become relevant. If you're not relevant, there is no such thing as rivals.
That is very true.
Rivals are created when players or teams or coaches become relevant.
I agree with you.
It's beautiful. Good question.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. All right, we're going to go with Tina. Tina from Jackson Milton writes, what is your biggest pet peeve as a coach?
Oh, mine is absolutely when a kid asks if they could either go in or if they could play a certain position. Everybody wants to be a pitcher. Everybody wants to be a quarterback. Everybody wants to be a point guard. Everybody wants to be the goalie. You got to earn them spots. I think at youth level, that's a very, very popular thing. Kids always want to know, can they play this? Can they go in? I absolutely can't stand that. I try to shoot it down right from the beginning, but ultimately they're kids. It's going to keep happening. But for me, by far, if you play for us, don't ever, ever ask when you could go in or what you could play.
That's a good answer. Mine's, what really ticks me off is when a kid, okay, so let me rewind just a little bit. Going back to basketball last year, we had a basketball camp that was open to every 3rd through 6th grade kid.
Why are you reminding me of this?
And it was one of the top worst moments in my life.
How did I do
my
in that?
adulthood? It was life.
How did I do in that?
It was awful. And what, so, like, the parents would drop the kids off to the camp, and the kids did not want to be there.
Yeah,
and it wasn't just one kid. It was like,
we were babysitters.
And it was awful. I mean, there was a kid, like, just doing snow angels on the floor, like he was out in the snow. The other one was fist fighting another one. And, it was around Christmas time, so they probably wanted to go get their shopping done. So they dumped their kids off on us. But, oh my, horrible.
Yeah, we never did that camp again.
No, I'll never do anything like that again. I'm still traumatized from it. I just thought it was awful. But I guess going back to the pet peeve is when a parent makes a kid play a sport that they just don't want to play.
Yeah.
I don't feel like sports are for everybody. There's other activities they can do, and they can learn the same life lessons through those activities.
And a little lesson to the parents. If you're forcing your kid to play, we hear about it. Don't think that kid doesn't come to practice and say it to us or the other kids that I'm here because mom or dad said that I need to play. Yeah. We know a kid that's forced there. And ultimately, talent-wise, you could determine which kid falls in that category.
And I think it becomes a social status for parents. They want to say, like, oh, my kid plays
sure
basketball, my kid. like your kid don't want to be there.
And he's in the way.
Like, do something else.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's not for everybody.
It's okay not to play sports. I do think kids need to be active in something,
Absolutely.
but it doesn't always have to be.
But there's a lot
sports.
of extracurricular things that kids could do. It
Sure.
doesn't have to be competitive sports.
For me, my kids start out with sports because, to be really honest, like that's the only way I know. Like I grew up playing sports, so naturally I want to expose them to that.
Sure.
But if one of them came to me and said, you know what, I don't like this. I like,
We'd
I
call
want to
him
be involved in a different activity, then go do it.
if one of your kids said that, we'd call him a wimp. Let's be real.
But if they don't like it, their heart's not in it,
Yeah.
they're hurting everybody around.
Yeah.
them.
And
Do something else.
don't just
It's
come
okay.
don't just come and be in the way.
No. And it's not a status, parents. It's like if your kid don't want to be there, don't make them be there. Like, please. All right. Let's see. Oh, we got Gloria. Gloria Gloria from New Middletown writes, how do you guys decide what to wear for your podcast? Why does Coach Joey wear cutoffs all the time? Why do you wear cutoffs?
First of all, I like that Gloria's paying attention.
Yeah, Gloria wants to know what you're wearing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's actually an excellent question. I'm actually glad that she asked that.
I just hope you don't ask Gloria what she's wearing.
Yeah, no, we're not going to go down that road. We're trying to keep this podcast going.
Podcast.
Yeah, excellent question. So I'm very OCD. I'm OCD about a lot of things, but one thing in particular is the band on a T-shirt. It's summertime. It's 90 degrees outside. So I could either wear a T-shirt or I could wear a cutoff. The band underneath the arm bothers me. So in the wintertime, I don't have an issue wearing long sleeve shirts. But in the summertime, I feel more comfortable in cutoffs. It's not because I go to the gym or I work out. It's because I'm OCD and the band of a T-shirt underneath my arm bothers me. So I either buy a shirt like this or I cut the sleeves. But in the wintertime, Gloria, you'll still be following us. I'll have long sleeve shirts on, but it's just the band under the arm that I don't like. That's the reason why I always wear cutoffs.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Hey, thanks for the question, though.
That was a great question.
You're really paying attention to Coach Joey.
She really is. She didn't write why is Coach Buck, what my decision was.
Yeah. So Coach Buck, how do you come up with your style for the podcast?
I don't really have a particular style. Like I got a Macho Man Randy Savage shirt on. He was awesome.
Slip it to a Slim Jim.
Oh yeah. My kids are playing youth sports.
I was a huge Macho Man
was
Randy
awesome.
Savage fan.
I was more of a Hulkamaniac,
I
to
know
be
you were.
honest. But
Yeah. I know you were.
dude, everybody loved Macho Man.
They
Like,
did.
how do you not give Macho Man a shout out? Even
Sure, it
got
looks
the
good
shades
today.
on. Yeah, thanks,
You look
man.
good
I
today.
got shades on to kind of match.
Yeah.
I'm
Your
sure
wife is going to absolutely hate those
Hate
sunglasses.
it. Hate
We'll
the
hear about that.
sunglasses. Why did you? Yeah, no, for sure. But as long as we mention the glow run.
Yeah,
That's
don't
coming
forget
up
that
in
glow
a
run on the
little bit here.
25th.
But yeah, no. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for the questions. I
Yeah.
thought they were good today. Keep them coming. Thanks again for listening to the podcast.
And we will see you soon.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you all.